Yeah. You already know what it is. AWOL Podcast.
Ayer estuvo el diablo aquí. En este mismo lugar huele a azufre todavía.
I'm back. Episode 48, I think. 49, who knows? I just did another one explaining the hiatus on the podcast. That was a previous episode, and I touched on some Olympics. I'm doing the same day. I even had to bring a cello out for this one. Because as you can see with the layout of the books, I'm in my bag right now. I'm in the pocket. And there's some shit I want to talk about. Like, share, subscribe. It's free. Let's get the bullshit out the way. I appreciate every single one of y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Please peep the previous video if you haven't already. It'll be at the end of this one. Different link, whatever, all that good stuff. Anyway, let's get into it. Cuba. Revolution. Hashtag free Cuba. Word up. Hashtag free Cuba. Now, I'm pretty much doing this one and I'm just posing questions, and I hope y'all comment below. I really do. I hope y'all comment below because I got questions about this. First, let's start off with, we all seen what happened in Haiti with the assassination. Craziness, right? Caribbean island. Few days later, July 11th, if I'm not mistaken, which is, as today's July 30th. So what's that? 19 days ago, Cubans took to the streets and protested. More protesters showed up in Miami, as far as numbers, than I think Cuba even had. Could have been the fear of the government, you know what I mean? But whatever. Now, I have questions as far as when I see people post stuff on Free Cuba and Meet Up Here. When I see the people in Miami, Free Cuba and all that. But it's always just that. Their posts, the Instagram, the YouTube, everything is just Free Cuba. Okay, cool. How? You can't. We were just gonna post stuff and not say how we're gonna free Cuba? Who's gonna run Cuba? Who? Ask me, what are the reforms? You live in America, talk about free Cuba. Cool, I get it. Cool, you have every right to. And yes, they're oppressed. They don't got internet. Food shortage is crazy. This is gonna be a tough one, man. This is gonna be a tough one. Yes, let's do that. But what you can't just go around. Oh, you can. I'm not saying that. If you post that and that only, but what are the reforms? What do you want? What are you saying? Do you have any idea? Like, what? I get it. You want internet access and this and that, but you don't say that. This person don't say that. This person don't say that. That person don't say that. So if you're just going to post hashtag free Cuba and don't put this is what it is and this is what they need, it's almost like you're virtue signaling. Right? This phone shit is real out here. You know what I'm saying?
There's a war going on outside. No man is safe from.
You already know. It's real out here. So, you have to say that. What are the reforms? And who are you going to put in charge? This is what I got questions. Who? How? When? We kind of understand the why. As you can tell, you can peep the books. Right? I get it. All these controversial. Haven't finished that one yet. Dope book. Mumia, everything. Huey. War Against All Puerto Ricans. Historically, what you see on media is not the truth to this day. Dead Prez said on the Let's Get Free or Die Trying album, or no, my bad. It's Let's Get Free album. Came out in 2001. Listen to that album if you haven't, by Dead Prez, Let's Get Free. They were talking about shit that happened 2 years ago. What? They were 19 years ahead of their time? Come on now. Now, he said, believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. You see all these media outlets saying this and saying that and saying this. I want to know how many people putting hashtag free Cuba know the history of Latin American countries or just America's involvement in all these places. If I don't agree or disagree, I don't know where I stand on socialism, because there are programs that we use in America right now that are socialist programs. Fire department, trash collection, police department, etc. Those are all socialist programs. If you think they're not, you're bugging. Now, not every idea in socialism can work. So if you're gonna post that, I feel like you gotta go more in depth. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just can't just be that. Fidel took over Cuba in 1959, was the successful one. First time he went over there, it didn't work. They didn't plan it out good enough. They went on a boat. They ended up hitting the shore where, like, I think they left Miami with, like, I don't know how many. Oh, I forgot where they left from. But regardless, they left with a certain amount of people. They didn't think about weather, the type of boat they had, the weight of the ammunition, the guns, seasickness, time. By the time they got there, it was down to like 20 or 40 people, something crazy, right? That were able to fight. Didn't work. Had to go back until they actually took over Cuba from Batista, which was first, even he had a revolution. There were like 4 revolutions in Cuba before Fidel, or Fidel was the 4th revolution. And it just happened to stick for 60 years and it's still there. They went over there, they won, took Cuba back. Everybody that went over there, or every person that had a Cuban revolution, and they became the rulers of that country, ended up co-opted by American operations and American puppets. And if they weren't an American puppet at first, they became one once they saw that green money, right? So now we get Fidel in there and Che. I do not put Che and Fidel and a lot of these people on a pedestal as if they did nothing wrong, but all is fair in love and war. That's how it goes. So if you live in America and you're saying hashtag free Cuba, you don't live there. You might have family there and you probably have a better insight than what I do. But what I'm saying is, if you don't understand the corruption that our own government, where we're saying we're allowed to say hashtag free Cuba. But if you don't know the corrupt shit that we do, and it isn't like, I'm not talking conspiracy theory. Operation Northwoods, we planned to blow up a 747 drone filled with fake people in it and blame it on the Cubans so we can go to war with them. JFK said, nah, you bugging. We're not doing that. We're not going to do it. This is a fact. I'm not making this up. This is a fact. FOI, Freedom of Information Act. Find this out. It's a fact. Operation Northwoods. The level of what we were willing to do to go to war with them. Why? Because when Batista was in there, and the sugar cane and everything else, and the Italian mafia was making all this bank with Meyer Lansky. They brought Meyer Lansky in to control the other mob bosses in Cuba because they were having illegal gambling, where they were rigging the gambling games up, where people that went to the casinos were losing because the mob was cheating on the games. So Batista went and got another mob boss to go in there and regulate them. You think he regulated them with a sit down over some pasta and grated parm? No. It said either fall in line, get down, or lay down. It was ruthless. It got better, right? On the games became more fair. How fair a casino can be and gambling can be, that's another story, but it became more fair. The odds were in, equal playing territory. It got that corrupt. Money. When Fidel went over there and Che and everything happened finally when they took over, there was no resistance. There was a little bit of resistance, but they were like, fuck it. The previous regime said, fuck it. Batista bounced with the head of his army, his little people, with $300 million in cash. Estimated in 1959, $300 million in cash. What are the inflation rates compared to $300 million? What's that? That gotta be almost close to $1 billion now, with a B. $1 billion right now, or damn near 700,000, at least double, right? Worth in today's day. So imagine how much he skated off with. Chilling, right? Fidel went in there and they were American companies. Domino Sugar, Reed war against all Puerto Ricans, and see what they did to Puerto Rico. These weren't Europeans. These weren't Great Britain. This wasn't none of that. They put American statesmen and governors in Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico's harvests were coffee beans, bananas, plantains, all this other stuff. And it went to straight sugarcane. And that was where Domino's Sugar, where you can still buy today in the aisle or in the bodega where you're from, did that in Puerto Rico, did that in Cuba. Sugarcane was real. That shit was white gold. Fidel said, and not mind you, all these American companies, you don't think they have beach houses, condominiums? The mob built the hotels in Cuba. That was mob money. That was mob money that built the hotels in Cuba so they could put a casino in there. People just barely got out of slavery at that time on those islands. Now, all that happens, people were poor then. People were oppressed then, right? So now Fidel takes over and says, you know what? All this shit is mine. None of this land is yours no more. Fuck Texaco. Fuck the casinos. The mob, everybody. Y'all are all out of here. America didn't like that. America was also shook of Russia and communism, right? And the USSR at the time, it wasn't even separated. It was still the USSR. They were shook of that. Right? So now, all that happens. This is quick. I'm just breaking it down quick because this isn't the point of the history lesson. I'm just trying to get to the fact of the hashtag Free Cuba shit. Right? All that happened. Fidel took over. Of course, America put sanctions, an embargo act on Cuba, where if you're an American ally, you cannot trade with Cuba or we'll cut you off. Those countries and be like, yo, sorry, Cuba, I ain't fucking with you because America ain't gonna fuck with me. One by one, they all dropped out. The only people that were willing to fuck with Cuba were United States of America's enemies. Russia being the leading one. They sent over money. They sent over weapons, army, personnel, soldiers, everything. I don't know any revolution that's going to happen where everybody wins, because this is a thing. There's two sides, A and B, right? Make it easier. There's Batista, Fidel. If Fidel, you got Batista there, some people like him, some people don't like him. Fidel comes. The people that don't like Batista will love Fidel. And the people that like Batista hate Fidel. So even when power gets exchanged, the love and hate will always remain there. It just flips. Who was mad is now happy, and who was happy is now mad. It's just how it goes. It's human nature. So of course, all that goes down. Did they do fucked up shit? Sure. Because if I took over a country, my country, right? Let's say I went back and I was them and I took over. We had to go to war for this land. I had to go to war for this land. When I win, I know who the enemy was. Just because I won, what? They are no longer the enemy? Name a revolution or a transfer of power that didn't result in fucked up shit happening after that transfer of power. Name one. I'll wait. Doesn't happen. That's not how humans work when it comes to power and money and ideals. It doesn't happen like that. There's always going to be a side A and a side B. America is the greatest example of it right now. Left and right. Two extremes. You can't even be in the middle anymore. You either better fall in line with the left or fall in line with the right. You love guns? You're right. You're pro-gay marriage? You're left. But what happens if I'm like, let gay people get married and all the other letters? I'm done. Peep the last episode, I'm done. Cancel me all you want. I ain't fucking self-censoring or towing the line. You already know where my heart is at. Gay marriage, legal. I'm with that. Let them do what they want to do. I don't give a fuck. It doesn't change my life. I'm good. They're going to wish that marriage wasn't legal. Once they get married and they're like, oh shit, this motherfucker get half. I wish it was illegal, right? Whatever. That's another story. But I love guns. So now what? I'm far right now? I know I'm policy based. Let's do this based off of policy and ideas. I might talk to somebody who loves guns and I'm like, word. I agree with you. When they say they're pro-life instead of pro-choice, I'm like, oof. That is a real sketchy one. But I feel the woman has a right to decide what she wants to do with her own body. I'm a dude. I can never get pregnant. So who am I to tell shorty she can't do this and it's wrong in the eyes of the Lord? Listen. Miss me with all that. Right? So with either way you end up on a side. One side wins, one side loses. Did they do stuff? Sure. Because I just took over this country and I fought you for it and I won. Now me and you got to talk. And if you were on the other side, I'm not going to let you just stay here. Why would I let you just walk around free willy-nilly? Because the second that you get a chance to take it back, you're going to try to take it back. And obviously, we try to take this country and we took it and we want to keep it. So you got to get rid of the opposition. That's how war works. Did I put the Art of War out here? I think I did put the Art of War. Bang, right there. If you haven't read the book of Sun Tzu's Art of War, which how long ago were almost every country, all their generals read that book. Not purely based on the actual strategies of war, because when that book was written, strategies were different. You talk about horses and people were boiling food under tents and feudal lords. We don't fight wars like that. There will never be another Vietnam War where it's hand-to-hand combat in the jungles with blades and with bayonets. We're not doing that no more. Now it's a bunch of people in a room with PlayStation controllers dropping bombs from a drone, right? Even war became inhuman. Its feelings are even out of war. Crazy. But you have to understand that you have to get rid of the opposition. That's just how it works. Not saying that it's right or wrong. Don't get me fucked up. But to act like appalled by it, what do you mean? Because when your side wins, they would have to do the same shit. If your side wins, you will do the same shit. And then what? There's going to be people saying, wow, how ruthless were they? You got to think about it. So we're yelling hashtag free Cuba, but I want to know, what are the steps? Internet? Who's going to help? America, the people that put the embargo act on them? Why don't we lift the embargo act and say, you know what? Fuck it. Let's see if Cuba can survive on its own. But this is the thing. Cubans that come from that become exiles and come to America do not like socialism, communism, any of that. They end up coming here, and the left in this country leans towards more socialism and communism. Not judging either one. This ain't about that. I'm just saying these are the facts. This is how they lean. So when Cubans come here and they see those programs, left programs, where it has a little hint of socialism and communism, they don't like it. So guess what? They vote Republican. So when you hear Biden running for president of America saying, we're going to have talks with Cuba, we're going to try to lift the embargo act and the sanctions on them, we're going to we weren't able to send U.S. money to Cuba a long time ago. Fidel said, okay, cool. You can now, American Cubans can now send money to Cuba and we good. Then it went to, no, we can't anymore. Then Obama said, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. Trump came in and said, nah, let's take it away. Biden came back and now it's up to him. It's a back and forth. This is all this shit that Biden said he was going to do, they ain't do. You get what I'm saying? Because they act. You got to be careful with people. It's the art of war. People are shady. We're talking about politicians here. They might be yelling hashtag free Cuba. They don't give a fuck about Cuba. I'm telling you this right now. They don't give a fuck about Cuba. They say they want a virtue signal and walk the line and be like, we're for the Cuban people, because it's a thing. It's a revolution, and the left is kind of like that. So you're gonna say that type of shit. But if they do end up getting them Cubans over here, they know that those Cubans are gonna vote Republican. They do already now in Miami. Check the history of who won how many times. Florida is red as hell. Miami, red as hell. Party scene all you want. Woo. Right? Red. Republican as fuck, Florida. Spanish people all in Florida, all vote Republican. So the left don't want it. So that virtue signaling of, yeah, when you see Biden and Kamala, free Cuba, they don't want them over here. Because of the just purely voting. So now when I see them talking shit about, oh, it's free Cuba and this is wrong, and how does the Cuban people, the government do this and that. I'm not saying the Cuban government is right. I'm just pointing out the fact. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. Republicans over here, they would love to have the Cubans come over here because they'd get more votes. But the Republicans wouldn't want them over here regardless of the votes, because they want Cuba to fail. So they can say, see, socialism and communism does not work. capitalism is the way to go. Look at Cuba. Told you so. They'll forfeit the votes and just so Cuba can fail to say, I told you that don't work. This is the way government and society should be ran with a democracy. This is the way. Well, our way is better than a lot of places, probably the best, right? But to say like these politicians give a fuck about us, you're bugging. You're bugging. If you get into Congress or whatever, if you make it past 5 years, you get eternal, lifelong benefits, pension, 401k, salary, all that shit. So yeah, we're going to free the people. We're going to close the immigration camps. We're going to do all that shit. You get in there and then they're like, yo, you know, if you just stay hired for 5 years, bro, you get all these benefits. You're like, word? Oh, shit, man. I just said I was going to free the immigrants. I was going to close down camps. I can't say that. They're going to get me out of here, somebody. I bet. This is what I'm going to say. All right. It's a tough situation. We're looking into it. I'm going to have a visit there next week. And, yeah, we're going to try to work it out. 5 years later, next president's problem, let me get my benefits. Nobody gives a fuck about anybody when they up on that higher level. So I'm just curious. I want to see where this is going to go. I'm not going to give you a history lesson on Cuba. I don't even know how long this episode is going to be, right? I just find it weird how some people are over here saying hashtag free Cuba. Okay, cool. Where's the next post of what are the steps? Talk is cheap. What are the next steps? Let's have a debate. What a discussion. What are your ideas? How? I'm all for it. Let's give them internet, right? But let's lift the embargo and the sanctions. Let's do that. Let's do that and see if Cuba wins or fails, if they're allowed to trade with the rest of the world freely. We don't know what would happen. We haven't known for 60 years, and even before that, it was all corrupt. Who knows? What people have to realize that as long we're all human, I keep saying that. As honest and righteous and moral you feel you are. However, and you're like, listen, I'm going to start a revolution. This is good for the people. We are going to free people. We're going to do the best. We're going to give them medicine, free school, free everything. And we're going to free the oppressed. All this extra shit. That's really, really good. In your heart, you have a good idea. But once you win, if you win a revolution, there is no way, as long as humans are involved, that you can do it in a peaceful manner. I don't know one that was. I don't know any takeover and regime switches who the party that won or the people that won were able to free the oppressed and do everything they had to do without having trials, without jailing people, without executing people. How? Name one. I don't know. Maybe Mandela. Maybe Nelson Mandela was probably the closest. Maybe Mandela. I don't know who else. I would give it to him. Cutting down apartheid. Nelson Mandela is probably the best example we got and the answer to that question. So it's easy to say this. It's easy to say that. I want to know more. I want to know where we going with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to know. Like I said, I read all these books. For example, Black Panthers, when they came in with their ideas, they had a 10-point program. They knew what the fuck they wanted. They were like, listen, here's our 10 points. Free breakfast program for inner city. We're going to stack up lawyer money for people that get arrested on false crimes, because you already know the era that it was. Boom. We are going to police the police. We're going to do this. They had their 10 points. They knew. They weren't saying hashtag Black Power. They were saying Black Power, and this is the change that we want. This is what we doing. Simple. Not saying everybody's going to be on the level of Black Panthers and that clear cut, but that's a problem with social media. It gives people the chance to virtue signal. And that is a little sketchy because I get where your heart is at. I think your heart is in a good place. I really do. Everybody's heart is in a good place most of the time. And it comes off like that. But just to say hashtag free Cuba and not say anything else, it's almost falling on deaf ears. You can't point out a problem, but don't provide a solution. Not saying that your solution has to be right. That's too much pressure. But give a potential solution. And let's have a debate. Let's discuss this. Let's talk it out. Let's work it out and see where we go from here. Where we go from here. What do we do about that? What do we do about this? But it's hard. And also another fear of mine is the media, where is it really what's going down over there? Really how it's going down? I don't know. The oppression is real. The no internet is real. The food shortage is real. Everything. But now, since America has an embargo and sanctions on Cuba, it is hard for them to get syringes over there to give out vaccines, even though they wanted to make their own. It's hard for them to get the vaccine, the syringes to give the vaccine. The embargo and the sanctions is overkill. That is some bully shit due to history. There's plenty of documentaries out there. There's plenty of books that you can read on all those Latin American countries. America's hands were in all of them. And I love this country, but the hands were in all of them. Every single one. From Venezuela to Nicaragua to Colombia, everything. Which is a little suspect. A lot of suspect. So, if America's hands are in all of them, but yet Americans are over here talking about hashtag free Cuba, how about you tell your country to lift that shit? You get me? Let's see what happens. 60-something years now. Che's dead. Che is dead. Fidel's dead. I don't know if Raul's dead, but he definitely, I don't think he is. He stepped down in 2019. He stepped out in 2018, and Canil, whatever his name is, took over in 2019. The current president now of Cuba, or the head of state, whatever I think they call it, a president. Dictatorship, whatever. Yeah, so let's see. Lift that and see what happens. But I feel that if America, it's the largest Caribbean island is Cuba, 90 miles off the shore of America, of Miami, 90 miles. That's right. I could drive to the Poconos in 78, 80 miles. Cuba's 90 miles across water. Ain't that fucking far. You feel me? But America got no hold on that. But yeah, we got a base on Guantanamo. And we're saying, this is another thing, we're saying free Cuba? Motherfucker. Guantanamo, where they tortured people. Tortured people. Americans tortured people. On the island of Cuba in a military base that was put there from the prior regime of Fidel through an act that secured certain things for Cuba if Cuba allowed America to put that military base there. Fast forward to past 2001, 40 years later, 45 years later, now we're out here torturing people there? But yeah, we're yelling hashtag free Cuba. What the fuck? It's a little weird. This is very nuanced. This is deep. This shit is heavy. I am just saying, everybody wants to throw around hashtags and throw around this, but with no further explanation. Now, is social media the place to have these debates? No. Not because I have one. But shit like this, a podcast, conversations, it don't even got to be here. Hit me up. You know the email. Hit me up, DM me, say, yo, here's the math, and we poly on the phone. You come to the crib. We don't got to do this shit on camera. Come to the crib. We'll have a drink, play a game of pool, and we talk. We poly. And we talk about shit if you don't want to be on camera. But that's how you do it. That's how you should do it. But I get it. You feel like you're doing something good. That person feels like they're doing something good. I'm just saying, if you're just going to put hashtag free Cuba, you got to put more substance behind it. We don't believe you. You need more people. Type of shit. It falls on deaf ears. So I'm already 36 minutes in on this one. I just finished about an hour on another episode. I'm just saying, it's easy to think about in hindsight and be like, fuck, or see this in a current situation and be like, this is wrong. No shit. The crazy part is, as Americans, we live a luxury life. Some of us do, right? But it's like dangling a carrot. America looks like Disneyland to other countries. Disneyland. But let's be honest, even alligators attack people in Disneyland. It ain't that safe. In America, Cubans think, I'm going to get to America, fuck this regime, or any other country, fuck this regime, let's go to America. But yet you come to America and you find out that even Americans aren't treated equally. So now what? Now where do you stand? That's what I'm saying. We need to debate this further. I can't wait to see where this goes. Hopefully my comrade comes through tomorrow to do another episode where we're going to discuss revolution. Hopefully we'll be discussing stock markets. Hopefully he comes through. I'm just saying, putting it out there. It's been tough for the guests to come through lately for whatever reason. I'm Rona free, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so we're going to find out. We're going to get into this more. I just wanted to touch base on just my point of view on that. And that is what it is, right? Everybody be safe. Don't virtue signal. You don't need to do all that. You don't need to do all that. Stick to your guns. All is fair in love and war. And with that...
We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that.
I'm out of here.